Have you ever noticed how the worst-case scenarios we cook up in our heads rarely, if ever, actually happen? There's this brilliant piece of wisdom from the Stoic philosopher Seneca that goes, "You suffer more in imagination than in reality." Think about that for a second. It's a game changer. Most of our anxiety, our stress, our pain, it doesn't come from the events themselves. It comes from the story we tell ourselves about those events. Let's break this down with a simple example. Imagine you have a big presentation at work tomorrow. The event itself is just you talking to some people. But what story do you start spinning in your mind? You might picture yourself forgetting your lines, your boss looking disappointed, your colleagues whispering. You imagine fumbling with your slides, your voice cracking. You're not just preparing for a presentation, you're directing a full-blown disaster movie in your head. And you're the star who messes everything up. By the time you actually stand up to speak, you've already lived through the failure a dozen times. You've suffered immensely, not because of the presentation, which hasn't even happened yet, but because of the terrifying story you created. This is what Seneca was talking about. Our imagination is an incredibly powerful tool. It can build bridges and write symphonies, but it can also construct prisons of fear and anxiety. We take a neutral event like a deadline, a difficult conversation, or a doctor's appointment, and we paint it with the darkest colors from our palette of fears. The deadline becomes a symbol of our potential failure. The conversation becomes a guaranteed conflict. The appointment becomes a harbinger of bad news. We are reacting not to reality, but to our own creative and often catastrophic storytelling. The Stoics understood that we can't always control what happens to us. The world is unpredictable. People will do what they will do, but we can always control our inner world. We can control the narrative. The event is just the raw data. The story we attach to it is where the suffering begins. So, how do we change the story? It starts with awareness. The next time you feel that familiar knot of anxiety tightening in your stomach, pause. Ask yourself, what is the actual, objective event happening here? And what is the story I am telling myself about it? Separate the facts from the fiction your mind is weaving. The fact might be, I have to give a presentation. The fiction might be, I am going to humiliate myself and everyone will think I am incompetent. See the difference? One is a neutral circumstance, the other is a self-inflicted wound. Once you've identified the story, you can challenge it. Is it really true that you will fail? Is it 100% guaranteed? Haven't you prepared? Haven't you succeeded in the past? You can consciously choose to write a different script. Instead of the disaster movie, what if you imagined a different outcome? What if you pictured yourself speaking clearly and confidently? What if you imagined your colleagues nodding along, engaged by what you have to say? What if you visualized the feeling of relief and pride after you've successfully finished? This isn't about naive optimism, it's about balancing the narrative. Your imagination created the fear. It can also create a path towards confidence. This applies to everything in life, not just presentations. Think about a relationship that ended. The event is the breakup, but the story you tell can make it a source of endless suffering. You might tell yourself, I'll never find anyone else, or there's something wrong with me. This story keeps you trapped in pain. A more empowering story might be, this hurts now, but it is an opportunity for me to grow and understand what I truly need in a partner. The event is the same, the experience of suffering is completely different. The Stoic approach isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending that bad things don't hurt. It's about understanding where the hurt truly comes from. The initial sting of an event is real, but the prolonged agony is often a product of our own mind. It's the constant replaying of the negative story, the what-ifs and should-haves, that keeps the wound from healing. Let's try a practical exercise. Think of something that's worrying you right now. It could be big or small. Now, grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. On one side, write down the objective facts of the situation. Be as neutral as a camera lens. For example, I have an exam in 2 days. I sent a text and haven't gotten a reply. My car is making a strange noise. Now, on the other side, write down the story you've been telling yourself about it. Be honest. I'm going to fail the exam and my whole future will be ruined. They're ignoring me because they're mad at me. The repair is going to cost a fortune that I don't have. Look at the 2 columns. The first column is reality. The second is your imagination. The suffering is almost entirely in that second column. Now, the final step: rewrite the story in the second column. Create a new narrative that is more rational, balanced, and constructive. I have days to study, and I will focus on the most important topics. I will do my best. There could be 100 reasons they haven't replied. They might just be busy. I won't jump to conclusions. I'll take the car to a mechanic to get an estimate. Once I have the facts, I can make a plan. This simple act of separating fact from fiction and consciously choosing your narrative is the core of Stoic resilience. It's a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger with practice. The more you do it, the more you'll find that you are no longer a victim of your circumstances or your anxieties. You become the author of your own experience. You start to realize that while you can't control the winds and the waves, you are the captain of your own ship, and you have the power to steer it through any storm. So, the next time you feel yourself spiraling into worry, remember Seneca's words: you suffer more in imagination than in reality. Pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? Then, pick up the pen and write a better one. This one simple shift in perspective can fundamentally change how you experience problems, transforming them from terrifying monsters into manageable challenges. It's not about eliminating problems from your life, it's about eliminating the unnecessary suffering you add on top of them. Change the story and you change everything. If you find that these feelings of anxiety or suffering are overwhelming and difficult to manage on your own, please remember that reaching out for help is a sign of strength. Talking to a mental health professional can provide you with more tools and support to navigate these challenges. There are resources available, and you don't have to go through it alone. Thanks for watching. If you value simple ideas that can create powerful improvements in your life, you might be interested in the deals on everyday useful items I've handpicked for you. Check them out in the link in the bio. And if this resonated with you, be sure to subscribe for more insights on living a more intentional life. See you in the next one.